Hello and welcome to the podcast of Torres Consulting. Thank you very much for being there. We have a very special guest today, and it's very special because it comes out of the usual profile of guests that I usually have on the podcast. He's the first person coming from finance. He's a cluster finance manager for InterContinental. His name is Manos Zervoudakis. Yeah, say it correctly, Manos?
Yes, you pronounced it correctly. Thank you, Pablo.
Thank you very much. So, Manos, thank you for being with me this evening. Thank you for giving some of your time for this podcast. And I have a series of questions for you. I'd like to start, as always, with the one that I ask every guest, which is, why did you choose hospitality? And I'm very interested in your profile because, as we were discussing before, it's sort of unusual to have a finance profile and it's a mix of finance and hospitality, because you did study finance and you have a master's in finance, but also you have a degree in Lausanne. So how did it all start?
Yes, I think it all started because my parents were traveling very often, and especially in Easter and Christmas time. So I had the opportunity to visit twice a year some nice hotels. Now, after so many years in the hotel business, I recognize they weren't that good, but in my childish eyes were spectacular, and I had a very nice time when I was there. So I guess somehow there was an impression that I kept somewhere in my mind. And when the time came to choose a profession, well, it came up naturally because when I started studying economics at the age of 18 years old, I wasn't particularly interested in the hotel business, and when I reached the end of my studies at 22, well, that was the time to decide what am I doing next in my life. And economics was very abstract, let's say. So instead of continuing studying on an economics topic, I chose something very a more realistic and on the ground, let's say, path, which was the hotel business.
Okay. And
I saw that nobody from my environment that finished economics choose hotel business. So I guess I thought that might be a good idea. There's not too much competition.
All right. Well.
And
are we talking about some 20 years ago, basically?
More than 20 years ago.
More than 20. So you work in Greece, you work in Spain, you work in London, Luxembourg, Paris, Lyon now. So traveling all over and obviously progressing in your career. So how did it go? I mean, how did you go from company to company, from location to location?
Yeah, when I guess for the majority of the Mediterranean countries, I started on an island, on a seasonal hotel. Mm-hmm. You know, the big factories, actually, I mean, that accommodate 1,000 guests.
Okay.
And well, after I spent from, let me think now, how many years? 2, 3, 4. After 5 or 6 years in this business, I moved to a big 5-star hotel in Athens, where I stayed for 5.5 years. And still, I was always willing to do more and learn more. And all of a sudden, the hotel where I was working did a tender for to find a new manager, an operations company, and Starwood won the tender. Now, at that time, I saw that Starwood brought its finance director to the hotel, mm-hmm. And I met the guy, very sympathetic, he was earning 5 times my salary. And I said, I can do what he can do. So the only difference is that he came from abroad. So maybe I should try my luck in another country.
Okay.
And that was the first step to leave Greece and try my luck abroad. That happened in 2006. And at that time, I was the internal auditor of the hotel, whose, finance director came from Starwood.
Internal, which sometimes is, there is two positions. That could be internal auditor, could be the one from the reception, usually working night shift, and then the one from the finance department. Now I'm thinking, because when people tend to study hospitality, there's not that many, as you're saying, going into that finance path. It tends to be rooms or F&B, but it's unusual to choose a path. So I like the approach that you mentioned, sort of a blue ocean. If there is no one there, I can find my own path and I make my way.
Yes, after economics, because in order not to confuse our audience, right after I did hotel studies. Okay, because at the time of what am I doing next? Because the truth is that after economics, you cannot start a hotel career if you don't have a clue about what's going on in reality. So that was an important step. Before I started working in seasonal hotels in Rhodes, in Crete, and elsewhere.
And now you're managing 3 different hotels, cluster director of finance, InterConti, Lyon, Marseille, and Bordeaux. What does it mean? What fills your day as a cluster director of finance?
Well, it's I had a similar role in the past. What makes the difference? What makes the difference now is that the hotels are in different cities, so that means a lot of traveling. I spent, let's say that the month has 22 working days. I spent 10 away from my hotel base in Lyon. So it makes, let's say, 10 days in my hotel base, and 5 and 5, or 6 and 6 is the other 2. That's the main point. And apart from this, with new technologies, I can follow what's happening in the 3 hotels every day. So I'm involved in the daily operations of the 3 hotels. And although there are so many issues that cover the 3 of them, that it's irrelevant where you are, because I'm negotiating contracts, let's say, for the 3 of them, or I do some studies that concern the 3 of them as well. So let's say there are topics, general topics that apply to the 3 of them, and there are specific ones but most of my time I spend it for the cluster and not for each specific hotel.
So the general challenges for the 3 of them. And besides the current pandemic, we'll touch that point later, but what are the usual kind of pain points, or what caused you the biggest headache as a director of finance? Is it the clients, is it owners, is it contracts, is it a mix of everything?
Well, yes, it depends a lot. Right now, hotels are managed hotels, so the relationship with the owner is a key point. And there is a lot of reporting compared to the other type of contracts. The ownership of hotels or leased hotels or franchised. Managed hotels have a lot of reporting, and I think what's the difference between this kind of contracts and the other ones is there's more reporting, and this is normal because the owners need to have a good picture of what's going on at regular well, at monthly intervals. The monthly reporting is the longest period. Sometimes they want, especially in these times of COVID, the reporting is more frequent.
And that's the next question. So COVID, the pandemic, a difficult scenario. So from the room's point of view, is a lack of guests, the pricing going down in many cases. From the finance point of view, what is the main concern?
Cash flow. Cash flow is the main topic. I mean, you know, businesses do not shut down because of bad P&Ls. They are shut down because of lack of funds. So secure cash flow is the main top priority in these times. And of course, the second topic is the manpower, because salaries, I mean, hotel business is a human manpower intensive business. So we have to find solutions for the employees. In France, we are lucky enough because there is some governmental support, at least till the end of the year. And we have to make good use of it. Not good, it's not the right word, but the best use of it, actually.
Yeah, no, it is challenging at the moment, yeah. And also it changes from country to country. So in Germany, it's going until the end of next year. France, end of this year. In the UK here, for example, end of October. So it is challenging in that sense to adapt to the local guidelines. Okay, so security, cash flow, intensive manpower. Now, what is your personal point of view I mean, and again, it's just a personal point of view in what's going on. I mean, do you see the end of the tunnel anytime soon? Any info you might have that you can share?
No, it's not, unfortunately or not. No, unfortunately, for sure. I mean, nobody knows really. But from what we read, I mean, I guess that the second semester of 2021 will be more likely to what we were living before COVID. I'm not expecting that we will do the same figures as in 2019, especially because congresses need some time, of preparation. So if we start, let's say, preparing them in the second half of 2021, we will have some new businesses in 2022. So in 2021, the best case scenario is that leisure will come back, and I'm optimistic. So it doesn't pay to be pessimistic anyway. Yeah. I guess second semester 2021 will be positive
next year. Okay. Good. Another question I ask everyone, it's to share some advice to, I mean, we have people studying now hospitality management or studies related with the industry, and they're probably thinking that, well, was it the right choice? You know, and now the industry is really, really under trouble. So what would your advice be to that people, generally speaking, starting into the industry or studying related to the industry?
Well, before COVID, but I think even now there are opportunities in hotel finance. It's always of course it depends on the country once again, but in Central Europe and in the UK, there is a demand. There is still a demand, which is not. I mean, as I said, it's a labor-intensive business. The technology sooner or later will hit as well accounting. For instance, it seems ridiculous, I think, that even in 2020, the same invoice has to be registered once from the supplier and once from the client. I mean, there is the technology that with one posting, both parties can have their books updated. The problem is that we didn't find a common platform to support this. So once this happens, of course, it will eliminate thousands of jobs worldwide, not only in the hotel business, actually, but it didn't happen yet. And in any way, there will be always opportunities and needs for people that analyze the figures. So I can't see any risk on this profession in the mid-term. And I think that my colleagues would admit as well that it's difficult to find candidates. So it's there is demand. Definitely, there is demand.
And that's what I was going to ask you next: is to how to attract talent to the finance, because as I was saying before, most people don't have it in mind. So you have both kind of dual backgrounds, finance and hospitality studies. But if I'm studying finance, for example, I might want to go into a bank maybe, or some real estate.
True.
If I study hospitality, again, rooms F&B. But how to pull talent there? What makes it exciting so talent will want to join the finance in hospitality?
Yeah, it's always with the international hospitality business that if you like traveling or traveling, I mean, it's not traveling when you spend 3 years in the same country, but if you want to meet new cultures, well, this is a brilliant opportunity. In a bank, you would never have this choice of working in another country. But there is a prerequisite, though. You have to learn foreign languages if you speak your native language only. And especially, again, for Mediterranean countries where in Greece or in Italy or in Spain, there is a lot of tourism business. So people tend to not to learn foreign languages because they can find a job in their own country. But then there is saturation, I think, in these very same countries and for finance positions. So there are opportunities away.
So opportunities are waiting for the right candidates. And I think it's a good part. I mean, obviously you need to like numbers and analyze them, which might not be appealing for some people. A lot of times when I talk with the candidates, it's more about I like to meet people, I like to travel, but then hey, there is another world, which is finance, for example.
Yes, well, now I can give you more arguments. There are good and bad things, of course. Positive and negative aspects. The positive aspect is that normally we don't work during weekends. Compared to other colleagues in a hotel business, it's a privilege.
Morning, PM, and night shift.
On the other hand, we rarely are absent the first 5 days of each month, which is the month closing. And well, I'm an exception maybe, but for the last 25 years, I've never spent holiday the 5 first days of the month. So apart from New Year's Eve, because then the month end comes around the 10th.
Okay.
But that goes with the profession. The month end closing is a big issue.
Yeah. Okay. Well, no, you're right. I mean, the shifts are better, obviously. Okay. Month end closing, important one. Okay, good. Anything else that you want to add from your side? Any other comment? Anything to?
No, I'm grateful because the decision I took, led me to 7 countries so far. I'm not willing to continue. I think 7 are enough. And it's of course it demands mobility from our families because we're not alone. And for people who are single, it's easier, of course, in the beginning. Then it becomes more difficult. But then again, for most of the countries, there are international schools. I mean, there is a way to combine professional life and family.
Mm-hmm. Well, if there is a will, there is a way. No? That's the same
Yes.
goes. Okay, perfect. That's it really from my side, Manos. I think I got a lot of interesting information. I'll put it in. I was taking notes about that, finding your own way, mixing both educations and finding your space, because there are opportunities in the finance. Important, finding the cash flow. That's your biggest headache, a part of the relation with the owners, hoping, being optimistic that things start going back to normal, if that can be said, in the second half of next year. So aiming for more business in early 2022 then. And yeah, highlighting the fact that there are opportunities in finance. Good profiles are always sought after. And if people want to travel and are willing to learn another language, they can find opportunities in your department and in your area in finance. Okay, brilliant. Good takeaways. Thank you very much for your time, Manos. It's been very insightful for me. And hopefully people who listen to the podcast will think the same. Okay.
Thank you, Pablo.
Cheers.
That was all for now. Hope you found it useful. Remember that you have more information on our website www.torresconsulting.co.uk, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and Twitter. Stay well. Goodbye for now.